Buff Nation!
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
He doesn't have a signature sound yet.
I didn't want to step on Ryan's "Let's go." Usually, that's where I fill in.
Well, Neely, he's additive.
But yeah, you can.
You need your own sound.
No, what the? Come on, man.
Dre's on the show today.
Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It is DNVR Buffs Primetime, presented by Illegal Pete's. Boy, do we have a show for you guys today.
We really do. Can I start with a shout out?
Go for it, man.
Usually it's no free ads for me, but
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
this particular establishment is very ardent supporters of the Buffaloes, so they get one free ad from me. Went to Pasta J's last night, and oh my God, it slapped so hard. I honestly, I kind of maybe in my head thought it was a little overrated.
Right.
I hadn't been there in a while. Went back, and I ate an ungodly amount of food.
What'd you get?
And I could have just kept going. So
That's sick. Just
I'm
carbo
so glad you
loading?
asked, Jake. I got what's known as the Hagen option,
Okay.
which is, I know.
Yeah, that's dope.
Whoa, they
That's
know
dope.
ball.
Yes, they know ball. It's perfect because I couldn't choose what I wanted. It gives you the option to pick 3 things, and you get like a half portion of each. So I got gnocchi, I got tortelloni, and I got chicken parm. Here's what happened. They accidentally brought me rigatoni instead of tortelloni. So then they brought me an extra side. So then I had 4 things.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to have leftovers from this. It was too good. Just mowed down it. And at one point, I just took my last bite and I was like, what is wrong with me? But it was amazing. Every bite all the way through.
Once you get 4, that's the Cepho Phil Lindsay RPO.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Oh,
And they also have chicken clacciatore, Alfredo Williams.
Wow.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's great stuff.
Yes. Anyways, shout out to Pasta J's. Thanks for the support of the Buffs.
I kind of just want to read the whole menu now to
It's good. There's good
catch
stuff.
all
Yeah,
the
it's-
puns.
Chicken parm cheverini.
Pretty hardcore Buffs.
Okay, today is boy, you're not going to want to miss this one.
No, it's a great show. What a great show.
We're going to draft college football things, our favorite college football things.
Yep.
Then we're going to talk literal buffaloes
Yep.
because the Lakota Prophecy is it's in play.
Oh,
Holy
it's
cow.
here.
It's here.
Yeah.
But we start today because we have Andre Simone on. We're going to be doing some NFL comparisons for some of the Buffs who are going to be entering the NFL draft this next season. We have 8 players. One of them is not entering the NFL draft this season, actually. He's just a true freshman.
We'll do him last.
Okay.
Not draft eligible.
Not
Yes.
even close.
No.
Nowadays, you can just tack on more eligibility. Technically, none of these guys might have to go to the NFL.
I mean-
Shiloh could play into his 40s, potentially.
Cam Rising's going to year
Cam
7.
Rising, Yeah.
Alan
great.
Bowman.
Yeah. Maybe that is what we need as a sport. Identify the players who are just meant to be college football player. Like, give Tebow lifetime eligibility,
Oh,
you know?
yes.
Johnny
Yes.
Football.
Right. Like,
Yes.
some guys are just meant for college, you know?
That's a brilliant idea.
Really good idea.
Thanks.
Once
We
it
need a
splits away
commissioner
from the
for
NCAA,
sport.
we're probably going to get that.
That'd be amazing. Sounds great.
All right.
Have Chris Wanky just throwing that thing around forever.
Wow, Chris Wanky in his 50th season. Incredible.
All right, we've got 4 wide receivers on here. Of course, because wide receiver is like the strongest position on this team, basically. Let's start with them. LaJohntay Wester.
Yeah.
Where do we go for a comp on this? This is I guess you could use the term undersized. He's just short, I guess.
Yeah. Very speedy, long arms.
Fast as hell, can wiggle out of a phone book or phone booth.
Great hands.
Great hands.
Wiggling out of a phone book would be crazy. I mean,
He's that
really
elusive.
small.
He's that elusive, you know.
Incredible. Just a little jitterbug.
Tough as hell for being at that size too.
Yep.
Returns kicks, returns punts. Also, I mean, we saw him in the spring game just explode upfield for like a 35-yard touchdown.
Who you got for us, Dre?
Size almost similar to a Xavier Worthy, but I don't think it's that type of player, that type of physicality. I think there's more wiggle, right? It's not just a speed demon. You think about guys like Tavon Austin, Percy Harvin, those kind of, and maybe that's more of a hybrid player, which is less so than what LaJohntay is, right? But as far as body type, and we're talking about some of the great like slot wide receivers in college football history with those guys. So maybe a loftier comp. I was thinking about who's that Kentucky guy we were talking about in the offense?
Oh, God.
Which
Lynn
one?
Bowden?
Lynn Bowden.
Lynn Bowden.
Wait, wasn't he the one that played quarterback too?
Yes. And
Okay.
then who was the other one?
Oh, God, don't do this to us again. We already went down. this-
Wan'dale Robinson.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Wan'Dale.
Yep.
But LaJohntay feels he's got a bit more length to his game than that, right? Maybe a little more physicality than those guys. So I think on this list, he's one of the harder to find a straight up comp for.
What's so
Yeah.
interesting for me about him is his route running. It's kind of one of the things that undoes a lot of these guys that really blow up in college. Tavon Austin maybe is an example of this, where it's like he was this incredible gadget player in college, and reverses, and you could line him up in the backfield and swing it out to him and all that stuff. But I think one of the reasons why he wasn't that as effective in the NFL is his route running. LaJohntay is here right now because of his route running. Like that's what Shedeur loved about him so much, where he was just like, I need that guy lining up in the slot for me, because I'm going to always know where he is. I'm going to know when he's coming out of his breaks. I'm going to know it's crisp and know it's clean. What about Antonio Brown?
That's a good one.
Five-
Chippewa.
So LaJohntay's 5'11", 167. That's what he's listed at.
Okay.
I think Antonio Brown was pretty small coming out of college.
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
why he was, I think, a 5th-round pick.
And then you talk about someone also who entered the NFL, was primarily like returning kicks, was almost like a gadget guy when he started those first couple seasons, and then became the wide receiver that was AB, really.
Chat's
not
throwing
bad.
out Emmanuel Sanders, which is a really intriguing one. Measured in at the combine, 5'11", 186, Sanders did back in the day, out of SMU. That length and route running, though, I think that really fits that label
How
a little
about
more. Huh?
That's
That's
there's,
a really
there was
good one,
another
isn't it?
former Steelers receiver
Yep.
right there. That's a better comp, and it's Emmanuel Sanders.
How about Tank Dell? Because he did a lot of that stuff at Houston. A lot
Wasn't
of
the
same
knock on
stuff.
Tank, though, his speed?
Do you remember, Dre?
Yeah, he's a
Well, he had,
classic
like, a bad
quicker,
40 time or
quicker than
something, right?
fast. I think he was just small more than anything, and older. I think that's why he dropped.
I really love the Emmanuel Sanders one, because Emmanuel had that catch radius despite being
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
That LaJohntay kind of reminds me of. Like when you see him run his routes, he doesn't look small because he's catching the ball so far away from his body.
Right.
Yeah, and Tank is smaller, 5'8", 165. So Manuel's 20 pounds heavier, but LaJohntay is 2 inches taller than Tank Dell. And Tank ran a 4.49, so no, it wasn't speed necessarily that got him.
And Emmanuel, while having very good speed, once he got to the NFL, you wouldn't have, like, you weren't thinking
Yes.
of Emmanuel as like a gadget player. You're thinking
Right.
of him as a wide receiver, which I think is going to be the truth for LaJohntay as well. Like, he is very fast, but not, who's the kid from like DeAnthony Thomas type
Right.
speed. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm rolling with Emmanuel. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Will Shepard. So he is only listed 6'3", 200.
Only.
Only.
Yeah.
I think he's a little taller than that.
He might, I think you might be right. He might be a little taller than 6'3".
First name that came to my mind was Cortland Sutton.
That's a great comp.
Can he separate more than Cortland did at SMU? Which, funny, we're going back-to-back SMU wide receivers.
And Broncos wide receivers.
Yeah.
And does he have that same contested ball chops that Sutton had?
He definitely has the catch radius, I could tell you that. And he's kind of like, he's obviously not a burner. Like, he's a more possession receiver archetype.
Yeah.
But That guy gets in the open field and he can take it to the house too. So he's not like your standard like.
Right. That's what I wanted to get at. He's not a guy you look at and you're like, that's a possession number 2 wide receiver.
Yes.
We're not comping him to like Eric Decker, to stay with former Broncos wide receivers, right? He's got a little more wiggle. He's got a little more straight line speed than that, which is where I think he might have a smidge more well-roundedness to his wide receiver repertoire than a Cortland Sutton does.
Cortland coming out listed at 6'3", 218.
Yeah.
Big.
So that's a big difference in weight. But I also would probably guess that Will, is a little over 200 at this point. And probably maybe 205, close that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
Rather than 20 pounds, it's 13 or whatever.
2 Allen Robinson comps in the chat, and I'm not upset with that.
I have to look at.
No, but Penn State, Allen Robinson, we did similar to Cortland Sutton. We had some real separation questions,
Right.
and I just have that less with Shepard. So then you start thinking, well, geez, is he Romo Dunze? Romo Dunze's returning punts, right? Like,
Right.
could even run a 4.3.
Will was returning punts at Vanderbilt too.
How about this? T. Higgins?
Ooh.
T. Higgins, I really like. I think T's skinnier though, more wiry.
Well, that's why I came to him.
Frame,
because,
right? Yeah.
Allen Robinson also came out at 220. And I think he was listed at 213, T. Higgins coming out.
And T. Higgins had some insane catches in Clemson when he was in college. Just wild catches along the sideline, like extending, like.
Right.
And Will Shepard, he had the one Georgia catch for sure too, but he's got a few of those in his catalog too.
I don't mind the Romeo Dubs comp from 414 JAE on the Toyota chat there.
His
game
game was a little bit more speed based though. His Romeo is more like Tim Patrick maybe.
Yeah.
Not to go
Patrick,
backwards,
not a bad one.
but I am T.
Patrick,
Sanders for
actually, it's
Wester
not
has Steve Smith, and I could see that just with the toughness that kid plays with.
Steve Smith was one of those outliers though, I think, where it's like he ran like a 4.6 40 or something, but was just such a dog that it didn't matter.
Straight up dog.
Jimmy Horn Jr. A speedster, obviously.
This one to me feels very Percy Harvin-esque. It's
So-
more like
I was totally wrong. Steve Smith ran a 4.39.
Oh, okay.
it's more like a gadget guy. Guy can do a little bit of everything. Has to have some returner chops. Yes, he's a speedster, but he brings some physicality. I mean, in some ways, it's the Deebo Samuel archetype.
Right. 5'10", 170. The roster hasn't been updated in a while. He's got to be bigger than 170.
100%.
That picture you saw yesterday, yeah.
Honestly, when I was thinking Steve Smith, I thought more of Jimmy, just because it's that very strong build in a slightly undersized height-wise receiver. I see the arms are comparable.
Ted Ginn Jr. in the chat. Jarvis Landry. Emmanuel Sanders again.
Jimmy's a unique one. Jimmy's a really unique one.
Jimmy's almost the opposite of LaJohntay, where it's
Yep.
he doesn't look
Right.
long. It's he looks compact. It's why we were talking about maybe using him out of the backfield. It's why I talked about why he's perfect for kick returns.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yep.
That's why I've said I think he's your best Dylan Edwards replacement in a lot of ways.
Darnell
right?
Mooney?
Yeah, Darnell Moody's an interesting one. What about a Tyreek Cohen?
Tariq Cohen was 5'5".
Yeah, he was really short.
He was short. He was short. But again, short frame, more muscular physicality stacked.
Deshaun Jackson.
More of a pure burner to me.
I'm just reading ones off the chat.
Jimmy's going to be one of the harder ones to come up with.
I agree.
think. Yeah. And I mean, Jimmy needs to live up to his potential to warrant some of the
For
lofty
sure.
comps that are being thrown
Eddie
out there,
Royal's
right?
interesting.
Eddie Royal's a really
dog.
fun one.
Yeah.
That actually feels just scouting report wise, read the combine numbers, very comparable.
Build too.
Yeah. And Eddie was returning kicks and stuff.
I talked to Eddie Royal for one reason or another one time, and he FaceTimed me, and he was just on the golf course smoking a cigar while he FaceTimed me, and I was like, damn, this guy's living.
Living the dream.
Legend. What a legend.
Shedeur Sanders.
Who's leading us off?
It's a box safety right there.
That is a box safety.
But also has a lot of speed. He's fast for...
What do you think
He's
Shiloh's
pretty
going to
fast.
run? 4.55?
I think he can get
I would
under
take the
4.5.
under on that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he can get under 4.5.
For a safety, that's blazing.
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting about him. It's like
Special box safety.
he's a hard-hitting safety that personally I think can fly.
Had the best season of his career last year.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Only one interception? Was it just the CSU interception? Did he have another?
He did have another. It was... Oh, wait. Did one get called back on him?
Yeah, that
I can only
sounds
remember
right.
the CSU one.
I think he had another one that they said hit the ground, and then he made a big play right after that, like forced a fumble right after that.
So we've got Bob Sanders, Jamal Adams, Marcus Gilchrist,
He's
Ryan
bigger than
Clark.
Bob Sanders.
Earl Thomas?
No,
That's
Earl
a
Thomas
lofty
was
comp,
way
too.
rangier.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they're all going to be lofty. These are all, you're not thinking of like borderline NFL players when you're trying to think of comps.
Yeah, no, I mean, first guy that came to mind for me was Jeremy Cash, Duke box safety that draft Twitter really loved, and
What year?
I don't remember that name at all.
2015 or so. I don't think he ever did anything, sadly. He had a forced fumble in that CSU game too.
Quan Brisker?
You know, what's going to be interesting about Shiloh is he's got the size, he's got the physicality, he's got the hard hitting, and then he's got that speed element to him to where you feel comfortable in a system where you can run a cover 2, right? And he can be one of your 2 deep safeties from time to time.
Yeah.
And then you can have him play in the box a bunch as well.
Got one. Kareem Jackson.
That's the one. That's the one.
It's the guy who used to play corner at Alabama.
And Shiloh
so-
started as a corner at South Carolina.
Yeah. And I mean, that's someone who, if you can do similar combine numbers, speed-wise. And then, I mean, Shiloh, he plays way bigger than he is. 6 foot 195.
Mm-hmm.
You could have told me he's 6'2", 220, and I would have believed that, the way he plays. So
I love the K-Jack one.
Yeah.
yeah.
I honestly got there because I was thinking about really fast safeties, and Caden Stearns came to mind, but we just haven't, unfortunately, seen
right.
much from Caden. But like he covers a ton of ground. I think that Shiloh can too. But then I was like, well, Caden doesn't really hit like that. And then I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about hitters. K-Jack brings the boom.
Yeah, 100%.
Chidozie Nwankwo. I mean, I just go back to Houston guys like Ed Oliver.
Yeah. He's that undersized interior defensive lineman who can really win that leverage battle. The S-tier version of that is Aaron Donald, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, it's who's the Clemson guy with the Falcons? Corey Joseph? Not Corey. I'll find it in a sec.
I just went to Vic Beasley. That's where I went to in my head.
But I think Nwankwo is more of a run stopper than some of those guys, right? I mean, not
Yeah.
Donald, obviously, who's...
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing he brings is like
Grady Jarrett, sorry.
his width is remarkable for not being, for lack of a better terms, fat. You know what I mean? Like when you think nose guard, sometimes you're thinking of these guys who are just
Yeah.
like, look, get as close to 400 pounds as you can and make it really hard to get for one person to stop you. He's not like that. I was shook when he walked into the bar because he
Yeah.
just looked like a bodybuilder more than anything.
Yeah.
Like he's just he's just an absolute brick wall. So it's like he has that kind of athleticism for being a guy who's not carrying a ton of weight in his gut, but his shoulders are as wide as some of those guys. It's like I'm really interested to see just how good he can be on this team because his build is almost one of one to me.
You think he starts?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's gonna start. He's gonna start.
Yeah, huh?
Oh yeah.
Some undersized defensive tackles that I thought of.
Grady Jarrett, was that the one you were thinking of?
Grady Jarrett, Geno Atkins, Sheldon Rankins.
Geno Atkins is a other S tier comp right there. Yeah.
Was Geno, what was his height?
He was a bit taller, 6'2", 290.
Okay.
Chidoza is listed at 5'11", 290.
Yeah.
So
Geno Atkins might have the most ridiculous traps I've ever seen of anyone.
that dude was unmovable.
Yeah.
Okay, we still got a few more to get through.
Puna Ford, interesting one.
Oh, that guy was massive.
Yeah, he was huge.
That's true. A lot thicker.
Yeah. All right, now we're getting into the
Malik Collins, Nebraska guy, also reminds me of Malik Collins.
Okay.
We don't talk about them.
Totally.
This guy isn't drafted, or you said we'll do him last, actually. Travis Hunter. I said on the draft pod, he is Justin Jefferson / Jalen Ramsey / Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Champ Bailey.
Sure.
Is Champ taller? Guessing both Coach Prime and Champ were slightly taller than Travis is.
Travis is tall, man.
Yeah, man, he's pretty long.
I think he
I'm
was listed
trying
at
to-
5'11" last year, right?
Oh, no.
Grown bigger?
He's definitely at least 6.
6'1".
He's easily taller than me.
Yeah.
Champ's listed at 6 foot 192. Let me get Travis.
Yeah, I mean, the Champ comp might be perfect. But it's the wide receiver stuff that makes him different.
I know. It's like,
I agree. Like, there's a lot of Justin Jefferson.
6'1", 185, and he said he's shooting for 190 by kickoff this season. He looks ridiculous,
He
by
does.
the way.
Yeah.
what's so
His
crazy about
transformation
Travis?
last 2 off seasons.
Travis has this short area quickness, these moves, these jukes that have only existed for like a few years, other than like Barry Sanders, who obviously is like, one of one also.
Correct.
But like when you watch Justin Jefferson like really route someone, it doesn't look like anything you can see on like an old highlight tape.
right.
And Travis has that type of like wiggle, that type of shiftiness, that type of quickness. He's doing those like crazy jump cuts into spins, it's like that type of stuff is, to me at least, new. So even when you comp him to Coach Prime, like Coach Prime was so unbelievable in the open field, and that like to me that's where I keep going back to. But also, I think Coach Prime would tell you like he didn't run routes like that. Like he ran probably 9 routes and posts and screens and reverses.
The way he attacks the ball, too, to me is pretty unique.
Oh, his
for
ball
Travis.
skills are off the chart. That's probably his best trait, honestly.
It was the first thing that stood out to me when we started watching him.
Yeah.
When we were watching old, Jackson State highlights and his high school tape is like,
Oh,
no one goes and gets the ball like this.
the high school tape's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And that shit's Jamar Chase-esque.
It's
That's where you could talk me into a Steve Smith.
What a comp. Stephon Diggs and Trayvon Diggs in one.
Yeah, no, for sure.
he's a better corner than Trevon Diggs, so easily.
Yeah, no, he just doesn't take those same kinds of risks.
Yeah.
He's way more fluid.
He does take those types of risks though. He converts on them.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, he wins on those games. And also, I think he has more speed than Stephon.
Like leaving your man coverage to go get a pick is something that Trevon Diggs does, and that's something. It's what Travis did to get all of his picks, except for a couple. I guess I think he was in a flat zone, but
I still like Jalen Ramsey more for his corner comp.
I don't love that
he's
one either.
in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen was more of a hybrid, probably had a little more size, probably a bit less.
You know why this is taking
instinctive,
so long?
Quick.
Why? We've gone
Because
really
he's
long.
incomparable.
Yeah,
He really
well,
is.
sure.
He's
No,
quite
I mean,
literally incomparable.
Like the Trayvon Stephon would be an amazing comp for every other college football. But for Travis Hunter, I'm going to say, well, Stephon, I think, is slower than Travis is. And, Trevon Diggs was the number 2 cornerback at Alabama. Travis Hunter wouldn't be the number 2 cornerback on any defensive backfield.
Yep.
So I don't. Yeah, that's not
Incomparable.
lofty enough.
Okay, we
For
gotta
that
go
guy.
quick here, or do we just do a break now?
Yeah,
Well, how many do we have left?
2 more.
Oh wow.
Sure, take a break.
Alrighty, shout out. Well, we're talking NFL comps today, and there's a new app out there, Vestable. You can invest in athletes. Baron Browning, Denver Broncos outside linebacker, the first one they have partnered with. He's in a contract year. If you want to make money alongside Baron, download the Vestable app, scan that QR code on the screen, and invest in Baron's IPO. It is live right now. Shares are available for purchase, but they are limited. So go download the Vestable app now and invest. It's a great way for you, the fans, to get involved with these athletes.
Yeah.
And
Toyota.
shout out Toyota. I got a little distracted there.
I was wondering what was happening.
Shout out to
Caught
Toyota.
in the middle of you two looking across from each other, like, huh?
Absolutely love my Toyota. The other day, I posted a picture of the sick Buffs keychain that someone made me. I don't know if- probably. Well, you could probably see it on there.
Yeah.
Look at this bad boy. That is sweet.
Nice.
But few people saw my RAV4 keys and they were like, "Oh man, I have a RAV4 too. Love that thing." Because everyone loves their Toyota. Most reliable car I've ever had in my life. Best customer service I've ever had in my life from a car dealership. So shout out to the great folks over at Toyota, and make sure you check out your Front Range Toyota stores, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Yes.
All right, wrapping up the first segment, NFL comps for CU players, and we go to Sheduer Sanders this next. I've got one that I don't think I've moved off of for close to a year now.
Yep. You've got your classic.
And it's Joe Burrow for me. Extremely accurate. He's going to, well, this is not even trait-wise, but he could have a senior season this year like Joe Burrow did with that LSU team. I'm not saying he's going to throw 60 touchdown passes, but he could have an explosion from that jump-to-jump year-over-year that Joe Burrow had.
I'll say this. If his wide receivers were Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, he probably could throw 60 touchdown passes.
Travis Hunter is one of them,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
true.
pretty close. Accurate as hell. I feel like he has good feel, ball placement all over the field. Not the strongest arm in the world, but can still attack all areas. More athletic than people are going to give him credit for. Because Shedeur will rip off, as we saw against USC, 30-plus yard runs. He's got that swagger, that confidence with him. And, Shedeur talks a lot about Tom Brady, and I feel like we were comping Joe Burrow to Tom Brady a lot when he was coming out, too.
What about CJ Stroud?
I like that, too.
You
CJ
know-
feels a little bigger, though.
Operates from the pocket. Yeah, CJ maybe has 10 pounds, an inch on him. But what really changed CJ's prospect outlook was that game against Georgia where he showed that he could extend the pocket, he could extend plays. He's a guy who scrambles to throw, not scrambles to run.
Yes,
very
exactly.
similar to
Yes.
Shedeur, very similar to Burrow. So I think there's something on that one as well. But it's a unique comp because he's one of the best pure pocket passers we've seen in a really, really long time. And you just don't have many of those guys coming out of college anymore.
You don't. And I'm with you on Burrow. I think it's Burrow pre-knee.
Yes,
So willing to get out and run a little bit more when he has to. Which kind of leads me to the whole funny thing about the stupid reaction of a mix of Tom Brady and Michael Vick, which people, I guess, decided that Shedeur just cooked up on his own.
Right.
When it was literally a question, are you more like Michael Vick or Tom Brady? And he just said, it's a mixture, which it is. Definitely further on the Brady scale. If we're a mix, it's like
Of course.
4 parts Brady, 1 part Vick.
Yes.
But I just think it's funny that people freaked out about that. Obviously, Michael Vick, there's only been probably one other quarterback that can run like that, and it's Lamar Jackson. But I like Burrow. I have to go back and watch Burrow in college again just to remember what his running was like, because all I can think about is just him just slinging it against Alabama.
Also, with Burrow, the toughness that Shedeur showed last season.
Yeah.
Burrow, I think of that UCF game, that bowl game
huge part
before
of
the 2019 season. I can't remember. It was the Hill kid. He went on to be a Cowboy, played defensive tackle at UCF. Just absolutely flattened Joe Burrow. And it was that iconic
his
photo
helmet
where he's
off,
like
yeah.
getting off the ground. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just that toughness. That's exactly what Shedeur has too.
Yeah. The toughness and the football IQ are the two most underrated parts of Shedeur, outside of people who really watch and know him. Anyone who knows when these we're used to hearing how these draft meetings go when they go to the combine, they go wherever, and what's the number one thing you hear about the guys who go at the top of the draft? Oh, he blew us away on the board.
Right.
That is what Shedeur is going to do. And
100%.
then there's a whole other type of football guy who's like, I want to see how tough this kid is. How does he bounce back after getting absolutely planted? Well, we saw him against Colorado State in overtime literally have Coach Prime go over and wipe his face off because he had gotten his clock cleaned so much. And then he goes right back out there, leads a game-winning touchdown drive in overtime. He is the quintessential quarterback you want when it comes to toughness.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And toughness, underrated, athleticism. There's maybe a teensy-weensy bit of Jay Cutler in there too.
Interesting.
Okay.
And who was also more prototypical size. And I'll tell you, you talking about the toughness and IQ made me think of Christian McCaffrey. I remember talking to Austin Eckler before the draft, and he was telling me about training with Christian McCaffrey. And the big separator between him and McCaffrey, he was telling me, was that Christian already was an NFL route runner, processor, technician.
Yep.
And I think Sheduer is going to bring a lot of that. And if you remember McCaffrey at Stanford running the ball for those teams, it's an undersized back running it 30 times a game, outsmarting, outworking, out-toughing his opponents on his way to what should have been a Heisman campaign. So different positions, different players, but I think there are some comps like that.
And I think the last thing I'll say about this is I think people are going to be blown away this year at Shedeur's processor, because I think there was this idea that came out last year that he wasn't processing it fast. And obviously we found out from him that the option routes were giving him issues just because he wasn't sure that those guys were going to make the right choice. Now he knows where everyone's going to be. And I guarantee you're going to see a lot more 1, 2, 3 deliver.
Yep.
And that's going to get NFL scouts very excited.
Yeah, I also don't think you can find historically a ton of quarterbacks who faced some of the challenges he was facing. New play caller midway through the season. Everyone's new to each other. Receivers, O-line, running game.
Point.
Who in recent college football history were that high on the passing leaders list.
Yeah, man.
With those odds stacked against him.
I think he's had a different offensive coordinator every season in college. He's had to build chemistry on the fly with so many teammates. I just don't know how the NFL looks at that and just doesn't fall in love with him right away.
Right.
I got to hear you explain the Jay Cutler thing a little more, because the chat is calling you at it, and I don't see it either.
So great arm strength, toughness. I mean, if you guys remember Jay Cutler with the Bears, he was tough as nails, man. He really had to go through a whole lot, and he didn't miss a ton of games with a really rough offense. The arm talent, obviously, and accuracy, and then an underrated athlete. I mean, Cutler could really move around, extend plays, more prototypical size, maybe a bigger arm Cutler had.
Yeah, because I just think of Jay Cutler as the classic, massive arm quarterback.
Right.
And while he certainly could be accurate with it, I wouldn't have put that as the best thing about his game, where I think it is probably the best thing other than processing for Shedeur. So I don't quite see it, but I also don't think it's an insult the way some people are taking it.
I think the best part of Shedeur's game in a lot of ways is being able to crank it off platform with pressure in his face, and that's where Jay Cutler made his money. Sheduer last year was not just a deke and dunk quarterback who's accuracy and completing short passes.
Right.
He's cranking it in spite of not being able to step into a throw and have have a clean pocket. And that's what's going to be most appealing to the NFL. And that's why Cutler was a top 11 pick and had a 10-plus year career as a starter in the NFL. Made a ton of money as well.
Last guy
It also should be noted that Broncos fans have a soft spot for Jay Cutler, probably more than the average
I think
NFL
Bears
fan.
fans do too.
Bears
honestly.
fans do too, only because they haven't had any other good quarterbacks ever.
Sure.
Broncos fans more because like we were seeing
It's
a
the what
player
could have
blossom
been,
and
yes.
then he was taken from us.
Yeah.
By the idiot that is Josh McDaniels. So I think that the average NFL fan probably doesn't think quite as much of Jay Cutler as a Broncos fan would.
Hey, man, not every comp can be a Hall of Famer. Sometimes it's just a multi-Pro Bowler. And you got to be happy with that.
Jordan Seaton's the last one.
Whew. I've told you guys, the way this kid moves, it's a lot of Trent Williams.
Love it.
With that strength and ability to get to the second level, there's not a ton of guys with that combination of size, speed, power.
His body transformation, we talked about it yesterday. He's really turning into just a chiseled, like, it's literally like the prototypical like top 7, top 10 drafted offensive tackle in the NFL draft, where you just look at them and you just go, yep. You watch like 3 plays and it's yep. Like you don't even need to see too much on them. That's what he's looking like.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
6'5", 315 coming out for Trent Williams.
At Oklahoma, and there was some rawness to him with the Sooners, but you could just see how high-end those traits were. And boy, has it proven out to be true. And I just think it's that type of...
Jordan's 6'5", 285 right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy to say this, but he has 3 years
Yeah.
Yes.
to get to that 315 number, and we've already seen him. First of all, he went backwards, right?
Right.
I think he was like 340 at one point, or 320.
Right.
He definitely
high school?
Yeah, he
Went way backwards, and now he's going back up the right way. He's going to get there. He's going to be around this size by the time he's draft eligible.
Yep. All right. That went long, but we got to talk about the Great White Buffalo Prophecy after this break.
Boy, do we ever.
Shout out to Bet365, the absolute goats. Do you have any picks for us, Dre? NBA Finals. RK's giving out some golf picks. Do you have MLB? Anything for us here?
I got in on Scotty Scheffler plus 300 to win the U.S. Open.
Okay.
I wanted to see if this prophecy changed the Buffs odds at all. Hasn't. So, like, the book not dialed in on the prophecy. I think that could be a massive advantage for bettors, Jake.
There you go. You heard it here first. Check out our friends over at Bet365. Sign up with the code DNVR365 and claim that bet and get offer. All you have to do is place a bet of $5 or more, and you will get $150 in bonus bets no matter what if that bet hits or misses. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Game Time, the absolute goats when it comes to last-minute tickets. I've told you guys this once, I'll tell you a million times. It's the only place in my life that I get rewarded for being a procrastinator. And Game Time, the longer you wait, the cheaper the tickets get. It's just such a great app, too. Like, everything's so intuitive. You just click it, you look at your seats, it shows you the view. It's a perfect app for what you need it for. So if you're going to any events this weekend, maybe it's a baseball game, I'm going to a concert this weekend, whatever it is, use Game Time. And when you use Game Time, make sure that you use the code BUFFS, that's BUFFS, for $20 off. Get in on Game Time. Best tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
All right, we gave you 40 minutes of football talk, so we're just going to hard right turn and go off the rails here.
All right, let's do it.
Can you explain to the people the Lakota Prophecy?
Yes, I can. Big news.
Huge news.
Big news out of, I believe it's Helena, Montana.
Yellowstone.
Which is, yes, a park.
Yes, it is.
Not a city.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
As the reported birth of a rare white buffalo calf has fulfilled a Lakota prophecy that portends better times. we have been in not the best of times as Buffs fans for quite a long time. But there was a big turn last year in the right direction. And then a white buffalo calf birth. This just could be the thing that pushes us over the edge.
Well, and then the prophecy associated with it.
Yes. Would you like to indulge us?
Good things are to come, I think, is the gist of the prophecy, would be my elevator pitch to you. And as if that wasn't enough, last time a buffalo like this, a white buffalo, it specifies with black nose, black hooves,
And black eyes.
came to the world 1994 in Wisconsin. His name, Miracle.
What?
Holy shit.
Yeah. If you were not up on your Buffs history,
Oh my god.
Miracle at Michigan, 1994. Ann Arbor, Michigan, not that far off the Wisconsin border.
Wow. Miracle?
Miracle. Also, it sounded like the naming ceremony might be happening along the same time Juju's
So-
got his visit.
A naming ceremony has been held for the Yellowstone calf. They declined to reveal the name. The ceremony is celebrating the calf's birth. It's set for June 26th in Yellowstone, where I'd assume we get a name.
We're going to try to make that trip.
Get RG.
Yeah. Yeah, there might be a conflict with Big 12 media.
No. Big 12 Media Days is July.
Yeah, we'd be fine.
Pretty incredible.
What's the driving time to Yellowstone?
It's a fun summer roadie, right?
I know.
there.
We go camping.
Oh my gosh, that'd be incredible.
If we get Starlink, we could do the show from there.
And this scene is just incredible. This albino buffalo comes to the world. Traffic stops to watch him.
The comments are saying that Ann Arbor is nowhere near the Wisconsin border. I feel like nowhere near isn't fair. Like it has to be.
Yeah, like they're bordering
somewhat-
states. So by
It
saying
is like
nowhere near, you
Eastern
guys are being
Michigan.
exaggerated. Did I counter exaggerate by making the connect? Maybe a little bit.
We just can't say nowhere near when it's
Right. It's certainly near. Yeah, it's near. It's a bordering state. So I don't know what to tell you
like
guys.
Colorado, nowhere near the Wisconsin border.
Right.
Yellow.
Is it more of a stretch than the AP writing an entire story on this? I don't think so. I think it's
This is actually Time magazine,
Yeah.
But
sir.
as far as towns in Michigan go, Ann Arbor about as far from the Wisconsin border as you can get.
Yeah,
Yes.
and on that one, you might have got me. You might have got me.
We should have just gone with the same area of the country.
Yeah, right.
Big
right.
Ten country. That's what you should have gone
Border
It
with.
is Big
State.
Ten country, yeah.
It's a 10-hour drive from right here to Yellowstone Park.
That is not bad at all.
Oh my gosh. We need to know what this buffalo will
What
be
day of the
named.
week is June 26th?
That is a Wednesday, 2 weeks from today.
Okay, that makes things a little more complicated.
Let's speculate. What do we think they're naming this thing? I'll throw one out. Juju. Do it.
There we go.
That would be incredible. Prime?
Prime?
Prime time?
Sure.
Prime time's fun for a little baby.
If you want to make a Juju connection, but honor a white buffalo, you could go with Scotty.
There's that connection with Scotty.
there it
and
is.
Juju.
There it is.
Yeah.
What if you just named it Travis?
Actually, McKnight might be a cooler name for a buffalo.
Ooh. Hunter?
Feels the opposite.
Shiloh.
Shiloh?
If you don't like it, say you don't like it. That's fine.
I mean, it's a buffalo. I don't think there's any real bad
What's
names.
something that's more along the lines of Miracle?
Just go Ralphie?
Legendary?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Correct.
That's fire.
Yep. Exactly.
Or just legend.
We have 15 minutes left. Do you just want to do the draft tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so.
What are we doing with these 15 minutes?
We got to answer questions.
Okay.
Oh, you forgot. Silly you.
Yes, and for those, so you made the Miracle at Michigan connection, but also 1994, the Buffs went 11-1. Led by Cordell Stewart, Rashawn Salam, Alfred Williams.
Greatest team in program history.
Yes.
This is the
from
all-time
a talent,
debate.
From a talent perspective, it is the best team.
Brought home the Heisman that year as well.
Yes. From a talent perspective, it's the best team in Buffs history. From a NFL talent perspective, this is going to be right up there with that team. I mean, it's going to be the first time in CU history that you have 2 picks go in the top 5.
Right. Maybe Rashawn, an homage.
Westbrook.
Westy? Give him a 2K label?
They're just shortening legendary to legend.
Yeah, I did that first, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Miracle and Legend. Legend feels super fitting.
Yeah, it's perfect. Should we send an email? Like, how
Right.
Do we
Well,
just
no,
send this
that's why I'm
clip?
saying we need to fly out. We need to be part of the pipe ceremony, and we need to like give our opinion. I think
How do I at
Also, it's
Yellowstone
literally
share our insights.
a legend. Like, it's based on a legend.
Yeah,
It's so good.
right. Also, we should specify that the prophecy is that the birth of this calf is a blessing and a warning. We must do more.
We must do more to take care of our animals.
Yeah. And it seems like the likes are light on this show, so we must do
Oh,
more
God.
on that side as well. I think we must do more in all areas, right, Jake?
I'm already tweeting at Yellowstone right now.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. You must do more. I hope
I'm
you heed
trying
this
to play-
warning. I'm really hoping.
Tweet sent.
Girls Club said Shiloh's a good one. It's a biblical name that means his gift.
Holy cow.
It's prophetic right
Oh,
there.
Man.
Yes, it is. It is.
I would love an albino buffalo or bison, maybe more a technical name. That'd be a great office mascot.
It would.
How much does CU have to pay to get that to be Ralphie 7? That's what the real question is.
I don't think you can put a price on a prophecy.
Prophetic Lakota albino
Is there
buffalo.
any buffalo in the world that is treated and cared for better than Ralphie?
Probably not. Probably not. I just don't think that this particular prophecy has any like domestication involved.
He needs to roam free.
Name it Osakin.
There we go. Name it RK. Now we're talking.
Oh my god. All right, let's get to questions. We'll do a draft tomorrow. I promise.
It's going to be a good one. You really had prepared for that draft.
Yeah, I'm so prepared. I'm
what
so
a
ready.
bummer if we don't get to do it.
Were you?
Dude, so prepared?
Do you want to come back on for the draft tomorrow?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
We'll just bring
I'll
you back
clear my
on for the
schedule.
second
Yeah,
segment.
Sounds great.
Andre Davis says, "What's good, DNVR? Jake and RK, what's all the talk? Phillip Lindsay talking down on Coach. Oh no,
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
If you
Sorry.
think I pay attention to what other people in Denver media are saying about anything,
Yeah,
I bet
Yeah.
those guys aren't even doing full segments on this albino buffalo prophecy.
it's just a
The
white book.
real news of the day.
yeah. Name it Jaquan. Thank you,
Right.
Reef.
There we go. So yeah, I have no idea. But
But if you're not informed, if you're not up at the facilities like these guys are every day, very easy to miscomprehend what's going on
Yeah.
at that program, as we have seen by observing all other media and their
Oh,
coverage
Lord.
of Coach Prime.
look at this one.
Michael says, live from Johannesburg, South Africa. Arcade, do you want number 2 to be drafted 1 overall? What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. You might have gotten it right. I don't know. Anyways,
Alyssa,
let's get to the question.
The mic on your lips. What? How would you pronounce that city in South Africa?
Johannesburg.
Yeah.
It's probably where I would have gone with it as well. But Johannesburg
Yeah,
sounds
Johannesburg was
It makes
great.
you sound really.
Real F1 fan over here.
Do you want number 2 to be drafted 1
Johannesburg
overall
feels like a left winger for the Avs.
to a bad team like the Panthers or below the top 10 like Mahomes/Lamar who went to good teams?
Okay, well, obviously you want to be as far from the worst team picking as possible, but you also want to be a high draft pick. I guess the dream is that there's a team that has a traded pick or something that they get up there. So yeah, if the Panthers get the number 1 overall pick, there's going to be a lot of drama because I think that is probably one of the teams firmly on Coach Prime's lists of don't let Shedeur or Travis go here.
No doubt.
So, yeah, I wouldn't want him to go number 1 overall if it was that team, but the dream is that, you know, a strong franchise, in my dream, that doesn't compete with the Broncos on a regular basis, trades up to get Shedeur.
Anywhere but the Raiders. That's all I care about.
I think you're much better off not being the top pick.
Jay asked, how does Shedeur rank among accurate quarterbacks in your opinion?
All accurate quarterbacks?
All of them that have ever lived.
I don't know how to go with that, but he's as accurate as I've seen as far as college quarterbacks. Right up there. I mean, Burrow comes to mind.
Stroud.
I loved Kyler Murray's accuracy in college.
Stroud.
Yep, Stroud is very accurate.
Yeah, I mean, and when I think like purely accurate guys, my mind goes more to
Chad Pennington?
some deke and dunk type guys like Dwayne Haskins was just pinpoint at Ohio State. Jared Goff was really accurate at Cal.
Yeah, he was.
Baker was a guy
Yep.
in that Lincoln Riley offense that could really throw. Was extremely accurate. He's very high end.
Yeah.
He is very much in that category with a little extra. Geno's a guy, West Virginia, very accurate, that comes to mind. All those guys have an extra year of evaluating in the books, so you got to see how everything plays out in his final draft year. But yeah, he has the potential to be one of those names you mentioned when you're talking about the most accurate quarterbacks we've evaluated in the last 15 years.
Which was the number 1 reason why 1 year ago I was trying to tell people that Sheduer Sanders is going to look just fine in Power 5 college football because he absolutely puts the ball on a platter every time he throws it.
I pronounced it right. Leave me alone.
That's what he's been stewing over there.
That's, yeah.
All right. We'll
I'm impressed, man.
We'll see. We'll have
Google
to
it. Google it
we'll
right
do
now.
some research.
Google it. Chase, how many early round NFL picks are on CU's current roster? So let's just do day 1, day 2. So top 3 rounds.
top 100 picks.
In this draft or across all?
I think he means across
This-
all, so
well-
you'd count Jordan Seaton and guys like that. No,
But that's so early.
That,
like,
I mean, yeah.
Cam Michael could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
100%.
we, you know.
Omari Miller, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This year, you have 2 in the top 5.
Mm-hmm. LaJohntay, I think, will be in the conversation.
Will Shepard.
Will
for
Shepard.
sure.
Will
I
Shepard.
think Shiloh could be in the conversation for top 3 rounds.
Depending on if Jimmy, I guess, matches LaJohntay and Will, he could get in that conversation. I don't know. Justin Mayers, Tyler Brown,
Yeah.
Chidoze.
Yeah,
Mekhi
there's a lot of
Hill-Green.
like maybes. Like if you
Right.
if you blow up this year, then I think anything's possible. Especially if the team's good. Everyone on this team is going to have so much publicity around them that could get really exciting.
I think you feel good about what, 3, and then I think you have like 2 others you feel like could be in there. I think the number's like 4 top 100 picks
At
next year's
least.
draft.
At least.
Yeah.
I mean, the Google's free.
Wow, he's so mad.
Vera says, what's going on with Winston Watkins? I have no idea.
Man, we haven't heard that name in a long time.
No idea. I think he's on another high school team.
Hell of a player.
He's getting courted by everyone in the P4. All the blue bloods. I don't know.
What a shame.
And finally, just my opinion. What did you guys think about the one-on-ones? We talked about the trenches on Monday. We talked on, was it Friday? You and I, about the wide receiver cornerbacks.
Yeah.
I know they did some more, I think, yesterday. I didn't watch yet. So, but
Time to get caught up.
They look athletic as hell on the outside.
They look big.
They have so many weapons, bro.
Clint just said that Shedeur's completion percentage has to go up 10% more for a Heisman Trophy. No way.
Bro, he already.
What did Bo Nix throw for last year that set the record for completion percentage? Was it 79? I think it was.
It's pretty high, yeah.
So I don't think he has to set the NCAA record for completion percentage to win the Heisman.
Nope.
Yeah, Bo.
Heisman's our one with Heisman moments. That's really what
did
it'll
Bo
come
have?
down to.
And yards and touchdowns.
Honestly, probably wins more than anything.
Yeah, wins number one, but there have been teams. I think there's been a 4-loss Heisman Trophy winner, but all of these guys, it's all about like, look how many touchdowns he accounted for.
Yeah. Bo was 77% last year.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to set the record by 2%.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
I mean, 69.3% behind that offensive line while he was hurt is insane.
Not to mention,
No, it's nuts.
27-3.
Yes.
That's even more
Or
impressive.
31-3 when you count his rushes.
3 interceptions running for your life all season is remarkable.
Just my
Whoa.
opinion says you guys were right. Wiggins is on the inside. They're seeing him play on the inside, I guess, in those latest one-on-ones.
Oh,
We talked
okay.
about that.
That intrigues me.
Yeah. That's where he should be playing. That frame plays perfectly inside.
Anything
that it?
else?
All right.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's see if we have any more prophecies this time tomorrow.
New day, new prophecy.
I can't wait,
Cannot
man.
wait.
Amazing.
Thanks, Dre.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we'll
fellas.
do it
Thanks,
again.
This is
bro.
amazing.
We'll do it again. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.